Moose, talk about the first Super Bowl you were in. What that experience, you played 3 and won 3, but tell me what it felt like to play in that first one.
You know, I think that Jimmy Johnson and his staff did a great job preparing us for the game before we got to the host city. You know, the bulk of the work, the bulk of the install was done in Dallas. He could control the schedule in Dallas. Once we got to the host city, there were obligations to the players. You've seen him at the press conferences in the morning. He knew he was going to have to forfeit some of that control. Our schedule was going to be disrupted. We're creatures of habit. We like our routine to stay the same as much as we can, and he was concerned about that disruption. So we came into Southern California, we came into Atlanta, we came into Arizona with a lot of that work built. The hard one was actually Atlanta because we were wrapped around that 1 week. We didn't have that extra week. But the other 2 times, you know, stepping in. Now when we get to the host city, have some fun, enjoy the city. Thursday, let's start dialing it back. Let's start getting into our routine because our obligations in the host city had kind of ended on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and game day Sunday, let's start getting ready. The 2 things I want you guys to be aware of, pregame and halftime, are going to be very, very different than what we normally experience. You're going to be in and out on that practice field pregame a lot. There's going to be a big delay with the anthem. At halftime, we've got 12 minutes to turn this thing around. In this game, we've got a big halftime show. We're going to have 30, 32 minutes to turn this thing around. Let's keep a good pace. When we step out on the field pregame, I want you to have your emotions high. I don't want you to ride the elevator. When we come in at halftime, get off your feet, get ready, but then start to build again for that second half.
Has the Blue Star lost its luster?
It's starting to. There were some statistics that I was made aware of this year that I did not know. I did not know that it, you know, the frustration that had gone on for 16, 18 years. I did not know how far we had separated ourselves when we beat Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl from the other teams in the NFL. When you look at playoff victories, I know San Francisco had 5 at the time. You know, we got our 5th. Now Pittsburgh has 6. You know, we've let everybody that was the elite of the NFL catch up and actually go by us. New England was not even in the discussion back in 1996. Now they're a part of that group of small teams that's really been dominant in the history of their franchises in playoff football, which is the most important part of the game. So they've got to win. They've got to win some playoff games. There's actually coaches out there now, and it's strange to talk about this, that will say it's not about getting to the playoffs. You know, it's a bigger field. It's about getting into the playoffs and having success. That's what Dallas has to do. They can't just get there. That's not going to satisfy anybody. It's been 8-8, 8-8, 8-8. If they go 10-6 and get into the wild card round and get knocked out the first week, that's not going to do it. They've got to get in there and they've got to win a game against a quality opponent to get this fan base re-energized.
Are they getting closer to being here again or further away right now, in your opinion?
I worry that the window of opportunity could be starting to close. I know it's a cliche, and I'm not a real big fan of the analogy of that window closing. There should always be an infusion of young talent that always kind of keeps you steady if you're doing the right things. But with Tony Romo and his back situation, you know, you have to have the quarterback if you're going to have a shot. And Tony's always given Dallas a shot, but where is he at from a health standpoint? Where is he at going into next year? Jason Witten's getting older. DeMarcus Ware is carrying some injuries. He's getting older. So the guys that were really the cornerstone of this team that we thought were going to be a part of them getting into the playoffs, maybe potentially a Super Bowl, Miles Austin is even going to be here next year. There's guys that we thought were going to help carry this team that are on the downside of their careers.
All these coaching changes, assistant coaching changes, there are those out there who believe they're just shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic. What's your feeling about that? Can you coach your way into a Super Bowl?
No. It's all about players. It always has been. We were talking earlier today about somebody saying the cover 2 scheme is outdated. It's prehistoric. It doesn't work in the NFL anymore. I don't like talking about schemes. I talk about players. If you've got the cover 2 Tampa 2 scheme in place and you've got Simeon Rice, Booger McFarland, Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rondé Barber, it's going to be successful. I don't care what time you plug that in. The Baltimore Ravens, was that their system, or was that because you had Ed Reed, Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, Michael McCrary, Tony Siragusa, Sam Adams? Great players make great defenses. Great players make great offenses. Good coaches don't get in the way. They don't think they're the most important part. They create unity. They create confidence in the system, and they move forward. So, as long as people understand it's the players that get this done, and that's the thing when we talk about that window closing. Where is DeMarcus or DeMarco? Where is DeMarcus Ware at this stage of his career? Where is Jason Witten at this stage of his career? How healthy is Tony Romo? Is Miles Austin even going to be there? Those are the big issues. Players win championships, not schemes.
Is Charles Haley a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely, without question. We don't win Super Bowls unless Charles Haley comes to the Dallas Cowboys, and it shifted the power in the NFC. That's the one big thing that I wish the writers and the voters would look at. Rick Gosselin did a great job a couple of years ago when he was standing up for Charles Haley about he doesn't have the sack numbers that you guys are talking about and maybe you guys require, but if you go back and look at when those sacks occurred, they were on the cusp of a field goal. They were on a critical third down in the red zone to prevent a touchdown. So his sacks were taking points off the board. But the biggest thing is Charles shifted the sense of power, the balance of power in the NFC. When he left San Francisco and came to Dallas, we took control of the NFC from San Francisco. To me, that's all that has to be said. This is a guy that shifted the power, the balance of power in a conference between the two best teams for 3 years, 4 years.